If you're over 50 and you believe that cancer risk is something you have no control over, stop for a moment. Because what modern research is increasingly showing is that your daily habits may play a much bigger role in long-term health than most people realize. We are not talking about fear. We are not talking about guarantees. And we are definitely not talking about extreme or unrealistic changes. We are talking about simple, consistent daily patterns that support your body's natural systems. At Strong 50s, we look at research in a practical way. And what stands out is this: small lifestyle choices, repeated over time, can influence how your body manages inflammation, immune function, and cellular repair. And these internal systems are exactly what researchers study when they look at long-term health outcomes. Your body after 50 is not broken, but it does respond differently than it did in earlier years. Repair processes are slower, recovery takes longer, and small daily stressors can build up more easily. That is why daily habits matter more, not less. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 simple habits that research has consistently linked with healthier aging patterns and better overall biological balance. These are not miracle solutions. They are not shortcuts. They are practical daily actions that support your body in working the way it is designed to work. And if you stay with me until the end, you will understand how these habits don't just work individually. They actually support and strengthen each other inside your body in a combined effect. So let's begin. Think of your body after 50 like a long-running system that has been working for decades. It is still strong, still capable, but it requires better maintenance than before. Things like inflammation levels, sleep quality, movement, stress, and nutrition all interact with each other. When one area is off balance, it can affect the others. That is why researchers don't look at single habits in isolation anymore. They look at patterns of behavior over time, and that is exactly what we are focusing on today. Now, before we continue, take a quick second. If this content is useful for you, please like the video. It really helps Strong 50s reach more adults over 50 who want clear, research-based information without confusion. And I would also genuinely like to ask you something. Please comment your age and tell us where you are watching from. It helps build a real community here of people going through similar stages of life, learning together, and supporting each other. Habit number 5 is something we can call the cellular load reducer. This habit is based on a simple idea that researchers have been studying for years. The overall quality of your daily diet can influence internal inflammation levels in the body. Now, let's be very clear. This is not about fear. This is not about cutting everything you enjoy. And it is definitely not about extreme dieting. It is about patterns. Large, long-term population studies have consistently observed that diets high in heavily processed foods are associated with less favorable health outcomes over time, including higher levels of inflammation markers in the body. Inflammation itself is not always bad. It is a natural defense system. But chronic long-term inflammation is what researchers are concerned about, especially as we age. Now, here is the simple way to understand it. Every time you eat whole, minimally processed food, your body spends less energy dealing with additives, refined ingredients, and artificial compounds. That means more energy is available for repair and maintenance processes. So instead of thinking in extremes, think in swaps. For example, replace packaged breakfast cereals with oats or fruit. Replace processed snacks with nuts, yogurt, or fruit. Replace sugary drinks with water or unsweetened tea. Replace processed meats with simple cooked proteins when possible. Small changes, not perfection, because the goal is not a strict diet, it is long-term consistency. Now, here is where most people misunderstand this. They try to change everything at once, get overwhelmed, and return to old habits. But research on behavior change consistently shows that small, repeatable improvements are more likely to become permanent. And permanence is what matters, because the body responds not to one day of change, but to repeated patterns over time. Now let's connect this forward. When you improve food quality even slightly, you also improve how your body responds to sleep and stress. These systems are not separate. They are connected. And that brings us to the next habit. Habit number 4 is sleep and nighttime recovery. Sleep is one of the most powerful biological processes in the human body, especially after 50. It is during sleep that your body performs essential maintenance functions, including immune regulation, hormonal balance, and cellular repair activity. Many people think of sleep as rest, but biologically, it is more like maintenance mode. Now, here is what research has consistently shown. Poor sleep quality and short sleep duration have been associated in multiple studies with higher levels of inflammation and reduced immune system efficiency. Not because sleep causes disease directly, but because the body loses part of its natural recovery capacity. After 50, sleep architecture naturally changes. Deep sleep becomes lighter and shorter in duration, and that matters because deep sleep is when the most important repair processes occur. So, what can you actually do in real life? Start with consistency. Go to bed at roughly the same time each night. Wake up at the same time each morning. Reduce bright screens before sleep when possible. Keep your sleeping environment cool and dark. These are not dramatic changes, but they signal stability to your internal body clock, and your body responds strongly to rhythm. Now, here is something important to understand. When sleep improves, every other system we are talking about in this video becomes more effective. Food processing improves, stress regulation improves, recovery improves. That is why sleep is a foundation habit, not an optional one. Now let's move to habit number 3. This is where things become even more interesting. Habit number 3 is purposeful daily movement. Now many people hear exercise and immediately think of gyms, heavy workouts, or physical strain. But that is not what we are talking about here. We are talking about regular, consistent movement that signals activity to the body. At a biological level, movement influences several important systems, including blood sugar regulation, inflammatory balance, and hormone activity. One key hormone researchers study in this context is involved in cell growth regulation. When movement is low for long periods of time, the body can shift into a more inactive metabolic state. But when movement is consistent, even in simple forms like walking, the body maintains better metabolic balance. Large long-term studies have found that people who engage in regular moderate movement tend to show more favorable long-term health patterns compared to those with very low activity levels. But here's the most important part. You do not need intense workouts. You need consistency. Something as simple as a 15 to 20-minute walk after a meal can make a meaningful difference in how your body processes energy. Even breaking long sitting periods with short movement breaks helps maintain healthier circulation and metabolic activity. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need to do too much, so they do nothing at all. But the research trend is actually very clear. Moderate, consistent movement is more sustainable and more beneficial long-term than short bursts of extreme activity followed by inactivity. Now let's connect this. When you combine better food choices, improved sleep, and daily movement, the effects are not just added together, they begin to reinforce each other. And that brings us towards something even more important in the next section, how stress and internal regulation systems influence long-term biological balance. Now let's move into habit number 2. This is one of the most overlooked areas in long-term health research, yet it plays a major role in how the body regulates itself over time. We can call this habit stress regulation and internal balance. Now, when people hear the word stress, they often think of emotions only, worry, tension, or mental pressure. But in biology, stress is much deeper than that. When stress becomes chronic, meaning it stays active over long periods of time, the body remains in a heightened alert state. Researchers often study stress through markers like cortisol, which is the body's main stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol is helpful. It helps you respond to challenges and stay alert. But when it remains elevated for long periods, it can affect multiple internal systems. Studies have associated long-term stress patterns with changes in immune response, inflammation levels, and recovery efficiency. Now, here is the important part. This does not mean stress directly causes disease. It means chronic stress can influence the internal environment in which your body operates, and that internal environment matters more than most people realize. So what can you actually do? You do not need complicated systems. You need simple regulation practices that signal safety to the body. For example, slow breathing for a few minutes each day. a quiet walk without distraction, spending time in calm environments, reducing constant mental overload when possible. These are not soft habits. They are biological signals that help the body shift out of constant alert mode. Now let's move to habit number 1. This is where everything comes together. Habit number 1 is consistent eating timing, also known as time-based eating patterns. This does not mean extreme fasting. It means giving your body a predictable eating rhythm. Research on circadian biology, the body's internal clock, shows that when eating patterns are consistent, the body processes energy more efficiently and maintains better internal balance. When eating is scattered throughout the day and late into the night, the body has to constantly switch between digestion and rest processes. But when eating happens within a consistent daily window, the body can better organize its internal functions. Now again, this is not about restriction. It is about rhythm. For example, eating your first meal around the same time each day, finishing dinner at a consistent time in the evening, avoiding late-night heavy eating when possible, simple structure, not strict rules, and when combined with better food quality, better sleep, regular movement, and stress regulation, this habit becomes even more powerful. Because all 5 habits we discussed today are not separate. They form a system. Food supports sleep, sleep supports stress balance, movement supports metabolism, stress balance supports immune function, and timing helps coordinate everything together. That is the real message here. Now let's bring everything together. What you have seen in this video is not a list of random tips. It is a framework of daily behaviors that research consistently associates with healthier aging patterns and better long-term biological balance. Nothing here requires perfection. Everything here requires consistency. Even small improvements, when maintained over time, can create meaningful shifts in how your body functions. Now, before we finish, I want to speak directly to you. If you are watching this, you are already doing something powerful. You are learning, and learning is the first step toward change. If you found value in this video, take a second to support the channel. Please like this video, subscribe to Strong 50s, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos. And I really want to hear from you. Please comment below your age and where you are watching from. This helps build a real community of people over 50 who are focused on staying informed, staying active, and staying in control of their health journey. You are not alone in this, and every small step you take matters more than you think. Thank you for watching Strong 50s. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, and we will see you in the next video.